Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about uh, where we're going with the class. We've taken quite a diversion here, not really quite a diversion, but we've looked at a parallel channel really of the evolutionary process that goes into shaping humanity as much as the biological, and that's culture. Culture, as you know now, is the whole set of instructions that a hominid uses to describe its universe, to say what its universe is like, and how to operate or how to behave properly in that universe. Essentially, we would call all of those ideas that reside in the brain, those memories that have been transmitted socially from one generation to another, that's culture. That's cultural information, instructions. And as it turns out, that also changes by an evolutionary process. It's not a trivial analog with biological evolution. In fact, there's a book here, Coevolution, Genes, Culture, and Human Diversity, by William Durham, in which he shows that the cultural information system changes by processes that we recognize now as evolutionary. Now, this is not to say that culture rides on the genes, right? If you're born of two culturally Japanese people in Japan, that doesn't mean that you'll necessarily, or it doesn't mean at all that you'll be born believing in Japanese mythology or preferring Japanese foods or thinking in Japanese language or speaking Japanese language. If that infant is instantly moved to Germany, they'll grow up with what their environment essentially builds into them. They might be born biologically in Japan, but raised culturally in Germany. The point of all this is that this is a critically important, as important as the biology of humanity in shaping humanity, and certainly after about 100,000 years ago, when we get to behavioral modernity, as you've read about recently now in our exploration of what behavioral modernity is, what is the modern mind like, what are some of the possibilities regarding the evolution of the modern mind. Certainly after 100,000 years ago, when we see modern humans moving out of Africa in this sort of second wave of colonization, we are very clearly products just as much of our biological as cultural evolution. We will shift a little bit back more into biological, or I should say I won't focus entirely from now on cultural evolution, but it really is a large part of it from here. Our biological evolution builds up to anatomically modern humans, and while there has been some genome evolution in the last 100,000 years, skeletally there are populations 100,000 years old that are indistinguishable from modern populations. So from the skeletal perspective, from the hard anatomy that you're familiar with now looking at a lot of hominids, there hasn't been significant evolution in the last 100,000 years. This does not mean that evolution has stopped. Number one, we've only just cataloged or described the human genome, so there may be all sorts of genetic evolution occurring that isn't necessarily phenotypically expressed in a significant way right now that we understand, but it is actually expected that there has been evolution. Something has changed in our genome. But by our outward shape, the varieties of people that we get around the world today, the phenotypic variations that we see today, now we're going to start looking at that. And that gets into the concept of race, or the concept of regional variations of anatomically modern humans. I'm going to put online two diagrams today. I think you might have this one already. This is the movement of modern humans out of Africa. I think you've got this one already. This is a diagram of human genetic relationships. It's sort of a dendrogram or a tree of human genetic relationships, and you can see the clustering of genetic relatedness among living humans. So we'll get into this material today, and we'll start to see basically this migration of hominids out of Africa 100,000 years ago starting to settle into various regions in which they do, in fact, take on sort of geographical variations. We will then get into the very interesting concept of race. Is there such a thing as race? What do anthropologists say about this concept of racial types in the human species? All right, just wanted to give you a little preface and a little bit of background to where we're going now. Sorry I haven't done a video in a while. Things have been very busy with a lot of reading and a lot of writing on a number of projects. But I'll be back, I think, now for the remainder of class to doing at least a video per week. All right? Great. We'll see you next time.